So when you think about from when you got the call, the notification, the text off the airplane, so what has it been like over the past several months since getting that call, and something that you may not have thought would have happened? Ricky, I'll let you go first.
I guess old guys go first, I guess is the way that works, I guess. But
Seniority has
seniority, that's what
benefits.
it is. Seniority. Call it seniority now. It's no discrimination, I guess. But, man, it was just, Winston, it was just unbelievable to get a call. I know Carl's getting tired of hearing this because we're going to so many functions together, but basically I was lucky enough to be on the election committee, one of the 50 that would go and meet once a year to, elect the candidates that were on the ballot to the final cut. And so I did that for quite a few years, three or 4 years, and then I was lucky enough to be on the ballot. And then once you're on the ballot, you have to come off the election committee. So anyway, it's been that was really cool because I said, man, they got a chance to be in the Hall of Fame. Well, anyway, first year goes by, then the second year, then the third year, and I think I was all the way up to year 7. And really, I kind of started blocking it out. I knew election day, and I knew what time of day it would be when the candidates, the final pick would be chosen. So after all the years of sort of disappointment, excitement, but then frustration and disappointment, I just sort of tried to block it out. And then so I'm out in my backyard on election day. I happen to be in the Charlotte area. We have a place up north of here, about 20 miles. And so I happened to be, I don't know, doing some kind of a maintenance item, I'm sure, around the backyard. And to get a call, it was, I have him on my Rolodex, so it popped up, Mike Joyce calling. So wait a minute, Mike Joyce calling. Here we are. It is it's election day. So wait a minute, Mike Joy, we talk about once every 10 years. So what is Mike Joy doing calling me? And I got thinking, he helps organize the sort of the MCs, the Hall of Fame voting. So when he calls, the first thing I said, is this call maybe what I think it's about? He said, I can't say anything. I can just tell you it's your best interest to get in your car and come down to Charlotte. It's vote day. And I couldn't get anything out of him. He was a company guy. He wouldn't let me know anything. And so anyway, Lynn and I hauled tail. I mean, I was sweaty, been working outside, and we jump in the car. First jump in the shower. She's got my sport coat on, and we set the world record, I think, from Lake Norman down to the Hall of Fame. And anyway, we made it there just about within 5:05 or something. So we're a little bit late, but not too bad. But couldn't believe it really happened. Really, I was kind of resigned. I got myself sort of numb with if I didn't get accepted, and I could live with it again because there was a lot of disappointment as well. But man, it's just unbelievable.
Well, truth is, he couldn't tell you anything because he didn't know.
Yeah, well, you probably didn't know.
He really, those of us on the ballot, or those of us on the committee, the accounting firm, and then maybe Steve Phelps because he's going to announce them.
Yeah.
But we literally don't know. So he went out on a limb. Now, he had heard your name enough times.
Yeah.
But he couldn't tell you anything because he didn't know anything.
Again, Lynn and I headed to, it was going to be either the happiest day of our lives or the most unhappy day.
Yeah.
But no, Mike, he wouldn't. He was a company man. He didn't tell me. And like you say, he probably didn't know. That's why he couldn't tell me. He just said, best interest to maybe make it down here. But I think you're always have the opportunity to be at that press conference to see if your name was chosen. And again, early days I hung out, and then. Man, it was great to be part of it, but then what a huge disappointment. So I never put myself in that position again after the first 2 or 3 episodes of hanging out there.
Yeah, that's happened quite a bit. Carl, your reactions and also how has it hit you over the last few months?
I guess similar in a way, but probably even to a greater degree. I thought there's just no way. It's not. I just didn't even consider it, and so there was the email that hey, today is the voting day and you should be available at this time, and I thought no, I didn't even want to think about it because of the feelings that are associated with it. And so when we landed the airplane, I looked back and I'm starting to open the door, and Kate says you need to check your phone, and that's truly. I've said it a bunch. I know we've all said, hey, I'm humbled by something. I was trying to describe it. It was like I melted. I couldn't comprehend how big of an honor. I can't express how big of an honor it is. So, I still don't know what to say other than it happened for me in my life at exactly the best time it could have. I think I know that I'm ready to really totally soak in the feeling of what it is to be a part of the NASCAR family. And this has been more special to me than I could describe.
So questions from the group. So we'll start here with Al, Jenna. We'll go just start on this side and then we'll come over here.
Yeah, Al Pierce from Alderweek. Same question for both of you guys. What do y'all consider individually your single most significant accomplishment? And the other question is there anything you regret not having done in your careers?
I mean, it's Ricky Rudd. Like,
No,
he's
yeah.
got to go first every time.
Carl's the most humblest guy. You know, I was coming into race. I was leaving racing. Carl was coming in, and I know he gets tired of hearing this, but you know, when I left racing, he was an exciting guy to watch. I mean, he was nobody any better on the racetrack. He was, you know, one of the best. And you got rewarded at the end of the race to see this guy do a backflip. And I think I was hanging in there maybe one of these times to see maybe when he didn't make it, you know, because one of these days it might not work out. I don't know, but he won a lot, so he did a lot of backflips. But real quick, to biggest accomplishments, gosh, there's, you know, somebody told me I think we won 23 Cup races, I guess, officially in the Cup level, and I ran maybe 900. So I lost a lot of races. And Carl's record, he won a lot of races, but he lost a lot of races too. I mean, unless you win every single one, which, you know, obviously that's never going to happen. But I guess probably there's several, but one that comes to mind is sort of the agony, defeat, and the thrill of victory happened to me within about a 10-day period when I was at Daytona, and was the Busch Clash, which is I think it's what it is today. I'm not sure what it is, but the invitational race from winning poles the previous year. And I'm in that race, and I end up getting spun out, wrecked midway through the race. We're running third, fourth, and I get turned around. And anyway, that's when the cars before Jack Roush came out with the roof flap. So cars would get airborne, and they were unrestricted, so well over 200 mile an hour. And it would have been a simple spin today. You just turned sideways, but as it went sideways, it did one of those reverse flips. And I don't remember much about it. I remember going up in the air and knowing that that's going to be a great thing that it got airborne, because it allowed me to step over a guardrail system at the time at Daytona that pretty much wiped out Darrell Waltrip. I mean, it hurt him really badly. And I remember looking over my shoulder, seeing that thing coming, and then the car got airborne. So that was actually a good thing. I looked at it at the time. But when it went up and when it came down, the lights were out at that point. And I was fortunate enough I was able to get back in the car not too many days later. But I guess my point is that here I worked what led up to that, which nobody would really probably even remember those days, but I had the opportunity. I was driving for Bud Moore, which was one of my dreams, is to drive for one of the top guys for like a Wood Brothers or Junior Johnson, and there's a handful of those teams. And I'm lucky enough to be driving for Bud Moore, and I get hurt first day at work, basically. So I was gonna miss out on that opportunity. And I knew I was hurt pretty good. And I knew that I'd probably be sitting out some races, which in that days, you know, it didn't take long. That somebody's going to move in your driver's seat pretty darn quick if you don't get back to work. So it was kind of like get back to work quickly, so I don't want to lose this opportunity. But to me that was the low. And then the next week there's a lot of people involved that helped get me patched up as a driver. You know, to get my body patched up from local high schools, Maitland High School over there in Daytona, and Humpy Wheeler's brother, David Wheeler, was a football trainer at one of the college football teams. He came in with a flat jacket out of the University of Florida. I mean, there's just a bunch of people, you know, jumped on me. It was like fixing up a wrecked race car. They were fixing up a wrecked body, to the point that I came back the next week. I felt like Superman. We won Richmond. So, I guess went around the world to get there. But probably the agony, defeat, and the thrill of victory all happened to me. That was probably the highlight of my career.
Carl?
Yeah, for me, I think if I think about now, I'm able to think of the whole kind of arc of all of this for me, and you know, being here, driving by Windy Road and Schrader's shop, and then you know, wearing this patch on the shirt. I think the thing that is really the thing I'm most proud of is just being able somehow to just keep focused on this goal, especially early on, and keep my claws in this dream of racing. And I was just so blessed to have so many people involved. But there's so many times, you know, before all this stuff that we're talking about, you know, and we talked about you guys starting that team, and you clawing back from such a, your seat's broke in half and you go out to win. For me, it's that I'm just proud of the persistence. And everybody in this room we're all enjoying something. A lot of people like to be in these seats, and you guys you're all doing the same thing. You're doing something you love, and so that's that. The regrets are real simple. There's two of them. I was so focused, I didn't enjoy some moments that now I know I'll never get again. And so I was just on to the next thing and going. And then the other one, I got to rectify a little bit of it because I ran into Brad Keselowski out there. I didn't truly love and respect my competitors the way I should have. I thought of them as that's my enemy, and we're going to dominate you, and we're going to win. And now I see that there's a real brotherhood that I didn't understand at the time.
Yeah, I have to agree with that exactly. And everybody finds their own. You got to dig down deep, and you got to, when you go out against the competition, especially when these guys are the best, the best there is. And that's kind of, it's funny to hear you say that. These guys on the racetrack, they were my enemy, and I didn't treat them unkindly, but those were the guys that I wouldn't, I purposely wasn't really super close friends with any of them. We were, friends, but we, just more acquaintances than it was friendship. So it's weird to hear somebody else say the same thing, because I don't think everybody's programmed that way. Some guys win and they find a different way to do it. You look at a Kyle Larson today. I don't think he gets mad at anybody. I don't think he could get mad. But he wins he's a heck of a driver, and he wins races. Everybody's got their own way of, competing, and you do what you have to do to be competitive, and so yeah.
Jenna, I think, had her hand up. Bruce.
Hi, Jenna Fryer with the Associated Press. I have two different questions. I'll start with the first one. Ricky, you said how you came around a little bit as a voter. Carl, you kind of just went away. Since the 75th anniversary, you've come back a little bit. Since the Brickyard, when all the former Brickyard winners and people were like, Rooster, we haven't seen you in 10 years. Has this whole spotlight been turned back on you guys, and the induction in the Hall of Fame rekindled your love of NASCAR?
Yeah, so for me, I left, gone, and I thought of it like that's something I did. I'm going to focus on my family and these other parts of life. And that NASCAR 75, coming back to Darlington, I even turned, I think it was Dale Jr. when they introduced me, I said, oh my gosh, and he's like, man, we miss you. Mm-hmm. And I didn't understand that. I didn't know, and I didn't know until we've been through this, and I've been telling Kate, we've been talking about it like ad nauseum all week. It's truly a family, and I didn't understand it. And so, yes, it's rekindled my love for all the wonderful things about the sport, and it's been amazing.
Yeah, Jen, I think for me, when I raced so long, my career was probably twice as long as Carl, and but it doesn't take long to figure out that you travel, we call it traveling circus, you travel the country with people that you really admire the most in your lives. Even though you looked at them as an enemy, you had a tremendous amount of respect for the work ethics alone of the crowd that I grew up with. I mean, if you had any kind of a business life today, these are the people. I wish you could hire people like that are that dedicated, that make us look good. But the hours they put in, and the time and the devotion, as we were to driving,
Yep.
as passionate as we were, the people around us were that way working on cars.
Yeah, I know when I left the sport, I realized the rest of the world, it's like they're incompetent. I mean, these people here are unbelievable. I mean, and so, it's a different level of performance.
It
And
is.
I
You
don't
talking
mean
about the
offense by
scoring
that.
tower?
Well, no, the outside of the sport. Don't. I got to watch it with Jenna. I learned a lot from you in the media. No, I'm just messing with you.
My second question, Ricky, you were ahead of your time. You were ahead of charters. Had charters been around when you were your own car owner driver, do you think your situation would have been different or ended differently?
Yeah, I mean, real quickly, you mentioned regrets a while ago, and I do have a regret. I left. Probably one of the most unwise thing I ended up doing is I left Hendricks Motorsports. Who does that? Nobody. I didn't get fired. I walked away from the best organization in racing that was going through some building years, obviously at that time. But the reason I stepped aside from Hendricks was I wanted to be a part of the sport the rest of my life, and what better way to do it? You know, eventually your driving years will be over with, and my mechanical skills were mediocre at best. I was just sort of, I wasn't a lot of assistance there, but I knew how to bring people together. I knew how to recognize good talent, and that's what we were able to build our team with people that we eventually won some races and we beat some big teams. So I look at it back like that. But then when I was planning on being here for a long time, but when it just didn't work out, things didn't work. So basically, when I retired, and it would be kind of hurtful to go to a racetrack. It would probably really be sad to go to the racetrack, and I haven't been in the garage yet since I've retired. And the main reason, I don't know anybody. You know, these people in the garage here today, they're second and third generations from when I raced. And I got a taste of it a little bit many years ago when we were at Las Vegas Speedway. I was driving for the Wood Brothers, Eddie and Lynn, and in comes Bud Moore and David Pearson, legends of the sport. They came walking in the garage area, and they walked up in the back of our hauler, really to talk to Eddie Wood. But obviously, I knew Bud well because I drove 4 or 5 years for him. And then David, he was, hero status. I always looked up to him. And we knew each other, but the whole crowd that walked up in there, when they left, those people 2 or 3 trucks over, they said, "Who are those guys? You know, what are they doing here? Who are they?" I kind of recognized them, some of them said. So I think right there was a wake-up call to me that, really wasn't a place for a retired driver. And these guys are working. I mean, these guys out there right now, they don't have time to talk. And so I respect that. So I just never made it a point to go in the garage. But I do miss it. This has been the neatest thing that's happened to me in a long time. Not just the Hall of Fame, but sort of reacquainting with all these friends and people that are still connected to the sport.
Time for one more question, Bruce.
Bruce Meyer with Forbes Sports Money. Carl, a lot of drivers stick around well after it's time to leave. You did the opposite. You left well before it was time for you to go. How difficult was it for you to close that chapter and never look back? Because it seems that that's the one thing that you've done is you did not look back.
Oh, I've looked. I haven't walked. But no, for me, I've come to realize that there's a much bigger plan than kind of my plan, and I felt like that it was truly a season of my life. I enjoyed driving a race car like it was one of the most enjoyable things that I could possibly imagine. Had so much fun. Had obviously, things all just was blessed all along the way, but it really, became, we talked about this at the hall. It's like you look at the things that are, in my life that were very valuable and important, and then the things that were priceless. And for me, it was priceless. I needed to focus on my family. I wanted to take care of my health. We looked at all the stuff going on with the head injuries and things like that I'd never considered. And when I put all those things together, it was clear that that season was over and I was in a new season. So, but it was hard, and I think that's what you asked. It's very difficult because just like most people, you wrap your identity up in something. And it was very strange for a couple of years to go places, talk to people, and they say, "What are you up to?" And it's like, well, it used to be real simple. I was getting ready for Darlington. I was doing this, and it was hard to explain to people. But for me, it was just it was the right decision, and it's been wonderful.
And when's the last time you successfully completed a backflip?
Oh, okay. I've been asked this a lot, and I thought about it. I went to my buddy's, he lives in Alabama, and I came out and jumped in the pool. I turned around and I thought, I'll do a backflip in the pool. And I think that, I don't know exactly what a hernia feels like, but I think I might be close to having one. And so it's been a while, but yeah, I think I can still do it pretty good, but I need to practice, yep. It was abdominal. Sorry, let me just clarify that. Abdominal. Yeah.
Just to
That might have
let you
been
know
too
this
much.
guy, Carl, how neat a guy he is and what he's doing. He is not sitting on a couch. And I'm still, every time I talk to him, he's doing something somewhere else in the world. Can I tell him that story? But you sent me that text that time.
I don't remember what it was. Go for it. Why not?
You get
Do it.
mad later.
All right.
And so Carl calls me to congratulate me on the Hall of Fame. I ought to call Carl, but he don't have a phone number. He's probably got some satellite phone or something. You can't reach him. So I get a text from him shortly after this. Shortly after the introduction of both of us being in the Hall of Fame. And I get this text, and it's Carl, and it's Sherpa. And he's at the...
Oh, this is awesome. Yes.
Can I say that?
Yeah, dude,
all
I
right.
wanna tell
So
the
I get
story.
I get this text from Carl. He's so humble. He don't say what he does. He does all kind of neat stuff. I get this text from him, and he's standing next to his Sherpa, and he says, "Dude, you're world famous." And he's at 15,000 foot in Kilimanjaro, and him and the Sherpa's got a Ricky Rudd hat on.
It was awesome. We spent how many days in Africa, went all over, and we are literally on the side of this mountain getting ready to do the summit push. And the cook is, I'm like, that's a Haviland hat. What is that? And it's a Ricky Rudd hat. And it was the coolest thing, man. I'd forgotten all about that. That was awesome.
I wish we could stay here and keep telling stories. There are connections with every class that we don't know about. This is the first Kilimanjaro reference that we've had in 15 years of being open. But February 7th next year on your calendar as we induct these two legends into the NASCAR Hall of Fame.